Hello, screenwriters. Welcome back to a brand new episode of Reading Brutal Reviews of my script. And this week, it's another feedback from the pilot that I wrote about the time traveler. It's called Hacking Life. And this feedback is from Coverfly. I have to say, this feedback is probably the best combination of brutal and wonderful that I've gotten. Okay. You'll see why. It's a long one, so bear with me. All right. It's a beautiful night on the Vegas Strip. Needs more description. Why is it beautiful? Stars, light, etc. In general, you need more description. We need to see your vision. There is quite a bit of camera direction that you don't need. To pull focus to an event, you need to describe how you see it, not how the camera's viewing it. You tell us that Jacoby is the hacker among hackers, but you don't show it beforehand. He steals from a couple, but there's nothing showing that it involved a lot of skill. Also, if you were going to show him being generous right after the theft, you should have known he was stealing before. Nuance is great, but we need to know what's happening in that scene for the following scene to work. The dialogue is a little stale, but mostly because it's overly quippy. Jacoby, what's the job? The fact that you're being so vague makes me think it's probably not something I want. All you needed was, what's the job? I'm offering you a job, a good paying one. Last time I checked, you didn't have one, at least not any that were legal. All you needed was a legal one, or something short and to the point. The same can be said for most of the dialogue. Just trim it down and only allow loquacious characters to talk too much. He continues walking. He comes across an invisible force field. It's difficult to figure out what you mean. Did he bump into it? He decides to step a few feet to his left. It should just be he steps. We can't see him deciding. The log line says this is about a fugitive who travels back in time, but he only time travels 20 pages into the script. It's too long of a wait. You could start it at the scene where he's trying to crack the code. All the main characters could be there. The stakes could be up and he could fail. After, we could get a few pages showing Jacoby in his most characteristic states. You said he's made mistakes, but we don't see him make any, or any ramifications of the ones he has made until the final scene. I know him not stealing the code was a mistake, but we don't really know that until after. The script reads more like a story about programming than time travel for the first half. Also, most people don't know what GitHub is, and as such doesn't help us visual or tell us about what's happening in the scene. There are virtually no stakes up until page 33. Each scene needs to have stakes. Each scene needs to lead to the next scene. There is quite a bit of telling, not showing. Why does Samantha ask Jacoby what's going on? How would he know? Some of the dialogue doesn't flow. Like a character will say something that doesn't correspond to what the other person said. Like he's in an emergency response vehicle. That is a bad description. Be more specific. There's a lot of teetering between not enough description and too much. My name is Jacoby Wade. I'm stuck in this subconscious time loop. I'm being taken back to every crime I've ever committed. All I want is to go back to present day, stop the world from ending, and go on that second date with Samantha. That one sentence sums up the whole story pretty well. But that is a lot to get through in one pilot episode. You can do it, but every scene will need to be interesting and informative. It was boring up until page 36. The characters seemed one-dimensional, even Jacoby. With this particular type of story, I think you could get away with having the other characters be a little flat, but Jacoby should have clear motivation and be interesting from the onset. This feedback was so great. I mean, not only did it tell me what was wrong with the story, but it pointed out specific pages and then how to fix it. This is the type of feedback that would really propel your story to the next level. I did do another draft right after this feedback, and honestly, I applied about 90% of what this feedback person said. This was from Coverfly, and this is why I miss Coverfly so much, because they really had some great readers on there, like peers like myself, who understand story, who would basically give great feedback without charging, an arm and a leg, right? Obviously, not all feedback from Coverfly was this great, but occasionally you would find someone like this who just really dug into the story. And yeah, this was so great. Not to brag myself, but I would also review a lot of scripts on Coverfly. I would give feedback, and I would say every feedback that I gave to a reader, they would come back and give me 5 stars, right? Meaning 5 is the highest that you could get, as far as they thought my feedback was very, very valuable. And so yeah, I miss Coverfly a lot. Hacking Life is one of those stories that a pilot that I have 2 pilots that I hope to bring to production one day. And Taste is one of them, which I talked about in a previous episode. That one is more of a lower budget, so that one I definitely know I could do myself. But Hacking Life requires a bigger budget, and eventually, yeah, I definitely want to do it. All right, thank you so much for watching another episode, and like this video, subscribe, and make sure you go to stratword.com to write your screenplay. Fade out.